Well, now it's time for the second session of the day, which is Game Beyond Boundaries, moderated by our very own Dr. Sandeepan Das Sharma, a sports medicine specialist and an ardent follower of football. Over to you, sir. The stage is all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Shurvi, and we all are having our esteemed panelists today. We will go to a session where the name has been given as Game Beyond Boundaries. I think the conclave has understood that once we talk about football, it is just not the match or the result. There is most probably only 10% who are actually actively playing football for that domain, and there is 90% which is beyond that. And maybe there can be another crore which can be touched through football to create something holistic and for their development. We will discuss it as an interactive way so that we can understand the holistic part of the thing, the complexities of the thing, the social impact factors, the challenges, and everything. Before I start the session, I will introduce each and every esteemed panelist here. First of all, it's my honor to introduce Mr. Diogo Garcia. Hi, Diogo. I hope you are absolutely fine. Yeah. So you are associate professor of Escuela Real Madrid University for their MBA Sports Management program, and you are associated with many other activities, including CSR and sustainability activity. And you have your reach with CF Funela Brada, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and
Yes.
La Liga Club Getafe. Uh, welcome on board, Diogo.
Thanks.
I introduce Albert. Albert is at present in a flight, but he has agreed to be part of the session. Uh, Thank you, Albert, for your kind cooperation. Mr. Albert Zibli, he is a sports diplomat and he is president of a body which is looking after the international corporate football, and it is by the name of FIPCO. He has its extensive activities in the corporate football development across the globe, which is almost like his second child. We have Dr. Shubhamay Bhaduri. Mr. Bhaduri is head of training and development at Magic Bus Indian Foundation. The foundation is doing wonder with sports for the overall social development and bringing a lot of other impact values and empowering the society. And last but not the least, we have Sonali Gupta. She is CEO of Go Beyond Sports, an initiative which really discussing sports and fitness in a holistic way, bringing important sports personalities and other activities, as well as she is also Fit India ambassador. So I welcome you all, and we will start the session straightforward here. My first question will be for Diogo. I will request Diogo just share an insight. Once we say that football is a tool and it can be used as a social enabler, ensuring equity and equality, there are a lot of words in general terminology, but can you just give us a simplistic idea that how football can be utilized for in terms of social enabler?
Yes, thanks for the question. Thanks to invite me to be a member of this panelists, and great to the rest of the panelists. In order to answer your question, of course, the football have a great capacity to influence over society. Everybody knows the stars. The footballers are considered as a stars. And as a result, they have an important capacity to influence over the society. If from these stars they have a very good behavior related to be respectful, related to the equality gender, to the environment, to support people living in intellectual disabilities, etc., etc. Of course, the impact from these guys will be very, very good, no? And completely different if any campaign or public campaign from public administration or something like this, the impact will be very completely different. Definitely, yes. The capacity to influence from the football is relevant. It is very important, and of course, you know, inside the stadium, there are a lot of fans with different ideology, different mindset, different cultures, different religion, but everybody is put together to follow the same club, the same passion, etc., etc. As a result, the football in this sense is magic, I I would say.
Okay. So moving on to Albert. Albert, how you feel that a football as a game can be used as a social entrepreneurial model? You are already using it in the corporate domain, but as the overall thing, how you feel that football can be used as a social entrepreneurial model?
So thank you very much for this invite, and I do apologize that I'm sitting on a plane waiting to take off. But with this very interesting question and a very interesting panel, what I would tell you is that football is the most incredible enabler we've ever seen in the world. It's the only international language. We don't have to speak the same language, but the ball unites us. And by a simple gesture of playing this game, it allows us to create all kinds of different opportunities, whether it is to create networking, find new friends. It also creates business opportunities. On the corporate football side, for the past 15 years, what I have been doing is really trying to use the game as that enabler to create opportunities. So you can imagine that when we're on the pitch, there are no titles. We're just footballers. And after the game, it allows us to create that link. That link opens up other doors, whether be it finding new jobs or whether be it finding new opportunities. And over the span of 15 years, we've managed to expand this organization to 67 countries. And I can tell you that the sheer impact of how people have created business opportunities just by the opportunity of meeting others is paramount.
Okay, Albert. Coming to Dr. Shubhoboy, you are utilizing sports as a whole as well as football. Tell us something in terms of Indians' perspective, how you see that the football is being utilized for social development. What is your experience for last almost a decade or so?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Das. And at the outset, thank you so much for having Magic Bus and me on this panel on this very prestigious conclave. To begin with, the ideal title of the conclave that soccer is global, so no doubt about that. And the moment we bring it to India, and when Magic Bus started our work 20 years back, this entire concept of using football or sports as a medium for social development was very, very new. People still not able to relate, people still not able to identify, because we have always seen sports as competitive. It is associated with winning and losing. So at that time, what essentially we did is to make people realize that how football can bring people together. The moment you throw a football in the community, automatically you will see people cajoling, people coming together. And that is 50% of your work, because bringing people together is one of the most difficult things to do. And the moment it happens very inorganically, that people are coming together and they are enjoying what they enjoy the most, and especially when it comes to children, sports is something which is closest to their heart, right? So it automatically makes one's life very easy, which allows you to use that as a medium and as a tool to discuss anything under the sun. We want to talk about life skills. We want to talk about education or completing their school education. You want to talk about health and hygiene practices. You want to talk about environment. All these things. And I just want to quote one thing here. After 20 years, and at the end of the first year of the COVID pandemic, we did a survey, and where to the adolescents whom we are working with, and they said that the experience that we got while playing with the life skills has helped us to deal with this pandemic in a better way. So I think that is phenomenal, that how football can be used, and that's how the landscape in the country currently is changing, that how football can be used more effectively, and it is no longer only looked upon as its competitive side.
Thank you. So coming to Sonali, you are part of the Fit India initiative. You are an ambassador. What is your understanding? How best the football can be utilized for that very specific goal, which India looks forward, healthier India?
Thank you so much for having me here first, and a warm welcome to all the other panelists, and thank you for your insights. Again, like most of them have also touched upon, the importance of sport in our lives, whether it is any sport, and we are talking primarily football, is very, very important for coming together and for being healthy, for establishing a lifestyle that connects to sport and that actually has sport as a central theme, especially in our country where we require to make sports mainstream for ourselves. We are not looking and talking sport only in terms of competitive, but we are also looking at trying to make it as a lifestyle where you have parents, you have grandparents, you have kids who take out time perhaps on a Sunday and look at sport as a way of remaining fit and being healthy. So it doesn't really have to come down to being only competitive, only at an international level, but it has to become a part of our lifestyle. It has to become a part of our culture. And I think that's where something like a Fit India comes in. That's where a lot of other entities come in together in promoting it as a lifestyle change, as a part of a culture. See, human beings by itself are made to move. We are made to have movement in our bodies, and the way that sport brings all of these aspects of movement, especially with physical health and mental health, especially football being an outdoor sport, it really adds a lot more value to our own lives. And I think that's where something like being fit and having a better mental and physical health, ensuring that it is a part of our daily routine and lifestyle, there shouldn't be a thought as to having an active lifestyle. It should just be an inherent part of us as human beings.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Sonali. No denial the fact that if football or be it any game in that way, be part of a lifestyle that can really create a mental, physical well-being, as well as Fit India movement can move ahead. Albert has a bit of time limitation, so I'll quickly come back to Albert. Albert, you are doing something in the corporate domain as a corporate cup, national level and international level. Surely it is an event, but we all understand that to grow a sports, there is lot of interest required from the corporate, so that the investment is coming from their end towards the betterment of the game. So how you feel that the corporate cup can really bring interest of corporates towards football, maybe in a country like India, where cricket is still the prime go-to platform for the corporates to really develop the game?
This is a very pertinent question. And as much as I love the game of cricket, the idea that football is the uniting sport in the context where every single country on earth plays this game, it makes sense for the corporations and for company involvement to be firsthand. What we do, and every year we host the World Corporate Champions Cup, which this year will be in Dubai. And this is really a showcase of companies attempting to highlight their connection to corporate social responsibility. And that's all in the context of saying, hey, you guys work for us, but we need to make sure that our employees stay fit. Now, there's a twofold angle here, is that not only are these individuals who are working full-time, be it they are lawyers, doctors, or even janitors, at the end of the day, they need the same physical exercise that we all need when we were kids and when we are older. Companies are also building bridges, and those bridges are community involvement. The same way as the Premier League teams and all the professional teams out there, they need to engage the local community to tell them, hey, we want you to be part of this game. It's not only of you guys coming in and buying tickets, it's also about you being engaged. Companies take a role in this. And by participating in a corporate camp, This is just but one simple step. I'll conclude on a study that was done in the UK a few years back, where they found a positive correlation between company involvement and increased investment in the game. And as companies get involved, where their employees are being engaged, they develop a link, they develop a personal connection to the game. And a lot of these people are either senior managers or eventually will become, the check signers. So these are the guys who are going to take decisions on sponsorship and take decisions on spending. So there is a correlation here that professional teams are actually beginning to heed.
Fine. Yeah. Next question, I'll open it or throw it in front of you all, because you all are working in the domain of social impact aspect, utilizing sports. Today we are talking about football, but once we discuss about something which is the social impact factor and the activities, a fund is an important factor to really push these activities. Those activities not always the glam activities. So how you feel in different areas, like Subhamoy, you are maybe seeing in India, Diogo, you are maybe seeing at your area of Spain, Albert, you are already doing those activities, Sonali, you have started these activities for last few years. How you feel the sentiment to give that money which is required, be it CSR or be it any other form, how easily it is available? What is the feeling? What is the general situation at this moment to have that fund available for those good initiatives around football or maybe sports? I will request that you all can start one after another, Subhamoy, Diogo, Albert, and Sonali.
So,
Okay.
sorry, Diego, you want to go first?
No, please
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I feel that in comparison to a decade before, today people are more aware, people are more cognizant that there has to be an investment, and there is a lot of funds which are flowing. So absolutely no doubt about that. The only thing we realize is that the inclination or the direction of funds are more towards competition, to create more sports person, to create more or to bring more medals for the country. But unfortunately, probably we miss out on this point that that will not happen unless and until we have a pyramid structure. That will not happen unless and until we create a base where it is a culture, like my fellow panelist Sonali was talking about, that it's a culture where every child gets an opportunity to play. And there is a culture of sports for all. So unless and until we invest on that, and most importantly, what we also have to identify that the competition will probably, or the acumen to be a competitive sports person may come a bit in a later stage. But what will eventually come is that you use sports as a medium, you use football as a medium to teach those adolescents certain life lessons, certain life skills, some social impact. Because today, if we go in any community, there are various issues, the social issues which are prevailing, and football sports is an absolutely fantastic medium to address those. So I think that's where the funds needs to go first. And when we do that kind of a program, subsequently and eventually, we will see that one of the return on investment will be children who will be more interested in playing sports, who wants to take sports as a serious career option. And that's where we should invest separately on those adolescents to take them to a different journey. But Dr. Das, just closing my remark with what you started, that only 10% of children move into that competitive side. The question is, what about those 90%? And it is absolutely important that the corporates should focus on those 90%, where they will probably have a quicker turnaround on their return on investment than those 10%, because to move to a competitive sports, you need to spend those many years, right? But if you invest 3 or 5 years on social development, you will see remarkable changes within the society, and you will also see that adolescents are moving in a certain pathway as career options. Thank you.
So Diego, you just
I
take
would
it
like
forward
to-
from
Yeah.
please, Sonali, please.
I would like to add to what Subhamoy has been mentioning, that I think the funds are available. however, what is required is to really channel and funnel them very properly, because like he again also mentioned, is that most of it is used for the entertainment aspect of sports, where competition, where tournaments, where leagues, all of this look very, very fancy. And however, a lot of them also trickle down to the grassroots, creating job opportunities, creating education opportunities. And I think that's where the corporate needs to step in a little bit more, to look at how they can funnel all of these opportunities to then get to a point where we are looking at medals as an outcome. But the starting point for it really has to be to build that culture of sports, where we are, again, like he said, there are 90%, not everyone who plays sport wants to compete, and not everyone who plays sport is capable of perhaps bringing in laurels or medals, but everyone is capable of playing sports. And which is where our entire conversation today is, that inclusivity is the need of the hour. Every person, every human being can play. And this is what needs to be made more important, to then have the infrastructure available for everyone to be able to play, for everyone to be educated in learning the life skills. Again, as he very rightly said, that sport is the greatest life skill you can have in life. And the kind of things that it makes you as a human being is probably what is the aspect of sport that we all harp about who are into sports. So again, just to sum it up, is to have a proper funnel and a structure where we start from the bottom tier of at least knowing that we have every child, every human, every parent having the opportunity to go out there and play, and having a support system or having a community where they can go out and play.
Okay, fine. I will come to Diogo.
If I may
Yeah.
add,
Please,
if I may
Albert,
add
please.
to this,
Yeah.
sorry, given that we're just about to take off, but
Yeah,
I want to
please.
just add an anecdote which highlights the kind of social costs and the social implications of companies, but everybody. When I first started this close to 20 years ago, I was sitting next to a researcher who was telling me how we are reaching epidemic levels in obesity in children. And while I was shocked at the usage of epidemic, the notion that kids are getting overweight, it's not only the fact of no activity or poor food habits, it's the sheer fact that they don't have a positive role model. And when the researcher told me that, I said, well, how could that be? There's all these famous players. We all aspire to be like these professional athletes. But the reality is, your number one go-to person, your number one inspiration in life as a child is your parents. If mommy and daddy are active, guess what's going to happen to the kids? We have a social obligation to make sure that kids are active and not sitting in front of a screen, not sitting in front of their telephones, and not just, behind a computer. Life is more than just that. And I think that on every level, if we are encouraging this kind of movement, we are headed to a better future, not only in the game, but overall.
Okay, Albert. So, Diogo, once I'm coming back to you after all these three comments, I'll just add one part here. Once you are answering that fund part, what is your experience in terms of Spanish or maybe European domain? How easily the concept is being accepted there, or how easily you get your fund there for all this type of social activities, social empowerment activities in your domain?
Okay, so a good question. Easily is not possible. Always is very difficult to achieve and to get funds. From my perspective or from my background from the football clubs, the first thing to take account is the budget. It is not infinite. No? As a result, of course, there are a lot of problems, a lot of issues around the world to solve them, but it is not possible to solve all the problems. No, the first thing is to analyze what are the issues in your local community, for example, because your budget it is not infinite. In order to get enrolled, in order to connect with the brands, the most important thing is to speak the same language that the brands is speaking. Because at this moment the priorities from the people have changed so much. The consumers, the the consumers have changed so much the priorities. It is a very relevant evidence. The consumers, when they decide to buy any product, they are thinking about CSR, for example, commit or environment commit, etc., etc. As a result, all the brands are aware about this. And as a consequence, there are a lot of brands that they are interested not to hire visibility or exposition with the football clubs, for example, in the banners or something like this. Of course, there are brands that this is part of the NDA, like a kind of Pepsi, Coca-Cola, etc., etc. But there are another brands, another corporates that they are very worried and very interested to get enrolled with your club for your CSR performance. As a result, it is very important to speak the same language. If you have a very good project, if you have projects speaking the same language that the society or answer to the necessities, I am sure it's possible to connect with the brands. Another important thing is to measure your impacts. When you sit with the brand, it is very important to show a good report where there are a lot of evidence, there are a lot of measures where the company can check how is your performance with this project, no? How is your impact over the society with this project. I think these three little things are very important in order to get enrolled the companies. The most important thing is to speak the same language, the society, to speak the same language, to be very proactive related to the brands and corporates.
Okay. I will suddenly come to a area where most probably it is just because Diogo and Subhamoy both are sitting here, one representing India, another representing Spain. Like La Liga has a foundation, La Liga, and Getafe is a professional club having its CSR activity. Now in India, there are many clubs, many elite activities, many elite football events, leagues happening. At times, we all understand that to really generate a business, you need a fan base. And with a social cause, the fan base development is quite easier. I will ask Shubhamoy first, do you feel that the professional football clubs and the leagues in Indian subcontinent should explore more now towards community-based activities to create their fan base? What is your
Absolutely,
take on it?
absolutely, Dr. Das. There is no second thought to it. And also, I see it from this lens also that for those children in those communities, they look up to their regional team or their local team as their heroes, right? So their role models. So I will look up to, so if I'm from Kolkata, my Kolkata team will become something more important than a Bombay team or a Goa team or a Delhi team, you know, in that sense. So I feel that that connection, I think the football clubs needs to leverage, that they already has a regional, many clubs may have a national fan base, many players may have a national fan base, but what is sure is that they will have a regional fan base. They have a very local fan base, and the children look up to them as role models, as if someone from my village, my city, my school is reaching and playing in that club, why I can't be? So that is an inspiration, I think, which the football clubs can instill in the local communities where they came from, in the geographies where the football team is coming from. And I think, and like I said before, that just by creating the fan base again may not be sufficient to promote the sports. What is important is that they have to ensure that the sports is accessible to everyone. That is another huge challenge we face, that it is not accessible to everyone. And when I'm saying everyone, it means everyone, right? So it should not be limited to boys, because generally the notion is that football and sports are largely associated with boys. But how are we engaging girls into the program? How are we engaging people with disability into this kind of program? And that's where you will be able to create a solid fan base. Otherwise, it can be still be misrepresented. The fan base, we might think we have the numbers, but we may not have the diversity in our fan base. So I think creating that diverse fan base is absolutely critical, and I think the football clubs needs to go more regional, more local to do that.
Fine. Diogo, in your case, because you are part of Getafe also, you have done those activities. Can you just elaborate on this segment, that utilizing these activities, how the clubs are basically getting connected with the community and creating a dedicated fan base behind them in that perspective? Yeah, Diogo, yeah.
Yes. Sorry. The fan base, of course, it is very important. Because it's possible thanks to them. They support your projects, help your projects. But the most important thing, in my opinion, is to analyze the necessity in your local community. I think this aspect is the first step, or should be the first step in all the CSR strategies. If normally the budget is limited, as a result, if you have a very good study, a very good previous analysis about of your mindset, your ideas with this foundation. For example, in the case of the Barcelona Football Club, Real Madrid Football Club, of course, they have a very international mindset. They as a result, the strategy in their foundations are very international, aligned with the football club. In the case of the football clubs like Getafe, medium-sized football clubs, of course, the funds are very limited, and the brand it is not popular around the world. In this case, it is very important to define how is your focus, your goal, and to analyze the fan base. Okay, is right, but it is very important to analyze the necessities and the lacks in your local community in order to start to a very good conversation with your stakeholders. To identify stakeholders are very, very important. And thanks to this, if you achieve this, to start projects impacting over the necessities in your local community, in the society, in the necessities that you before have identified, of course, with less resources, economic resources, you will achieve a great impact. I think this is the best way to start the CSR plans.
Fine. I will quickly touch upon Albert. I hope you are still there, Albert.
Yes, I'm here.
Last question, Albert. You are using football in a corporate domain. You have brought an event, a competitive event. Tell us something more, how the game of football can give a lot of learning for the corporate culture, for their betterment and productivity.
Oh, this one is a great question and an easy one for me, because it's all about teamwork. I mean, you could be the best footballer, you can score goals, but you will not win the game. Winning the game takes a whole team effort. And this is the beauty of team sports. Football in particular is that it's a relatively simple game. You have a ball and you need to kick it, except that you need to coordinate. It's the same thing that happens in the workplace. You can have the best strategy to grow your business, but if you're not all on the same page, you're going to have some serious issues in growth. Same thing in the game. So, those parallels, you see it every day, and we learn from it. I have seen teams play together, not winning games, but creating a cohesion just between themselves, a way of identifying with the company brand, but identifying with each other as, you're my teammate, I support you, you support me, I trust you, you trust me. That is paramount. And it's sometimes excessively hard to reach, especially post-pandemic, where most of us were working from our homes. So now the pressure is on all the companies to figure out a way to actually get everybody on the table again, and maybe around the pitch, just as a way of breaking the ice and saying, hey, let's start being a team again. So that's what I see.
Yeah, surely. The losing and then standing up and then still moving might be the very, very important aspect of all game, but surely associated with football, of a high passion game like so. Sonali, I will come back to you. You are working with the awareness domain, where you are basically promoting pushing important aspects through your multiple channels for the awareness building side. What is your take till date that how the awareness are being registered in the society, and to get your message push across, how much you feel that still today funding is important rather than the reason and the cause?
It's a great question in a way that I think funding can never be enough, because no matter how much you get, honestly, there are multiple ways of being able to use it further. And I think as we grow and with whatever amounts that we start with, there is so much more that you can add to it and keep layering in. So honestly, this question of funding it's just never going to be enough, whether it is today or tomorrow or perhaps the day after. It's an essential part of development for anything, and especially sports, especially football. Coming back to creating awareness, I think it is never easy to be able to change your mindset. It is never easy to be able to make a cultural shift. It is never easy to do these kind of things. But like most of the panelists have been speaking about, it is still very, very easy to create inspiration stories. It is still very easy to be able to identify people and bring them on the forth and make them role models and talk about their journey, which can then, we hope, will inspire more people. There is only that much that people like us can do in terms of bringing this and giving platform to stories to come out. And which is why today, again, in this post-pandemic era that now we are in, if we can call it that, storytelling has become so important, because that's the way most people are connecting to each other. They find value in the life lessons and the life journeys of others, because most of us have gone through it. A lot of us are not able to speak about it.
Sure.
So like he said, that having role models at regional levels, perhaps at the ground that you go and play. So today you have, let's say, a football turf where 10 kids are playing and one of them gets picked by a better coach and goes up and probably even goes to one of his favorite clubs abroad for a practice session. That is going to inspire the other 9 kids to become one of those kids too. And that's where it again layers up, funnels up, and we create these pyramid structures for the growth of sport and for the growth of humanity. I
Surely,
hope that
surely.
answers
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
you were asking.
Yeah. Basically, surely, conceptual connect is a very, very tedious and lengthy process. Surely, once we put some example hero in front of us, through that the learning curve must be faster. And sure, fund is always required. I'm fully aware with you and agree to the point to the T. I will come back to Subhamoy and Diogo. I will just ask you both, give us few example what you have done using football to create the social impact in your own way, so that others should know what you are doing and how you are doing. Subhamoy and then Diogo.
Sure. So, Dr. Das, what in multiple folds we see how we have managed to create an impact. And at a child's level, what essentially football does and sports does is, over a period of time, it make them more resilient and more self-confident. And the moment they become more resilient, and like you were saying, that it's the never give up attitude, that is what they take it from the playground to off the playground. And the moment they start practicing this in their real life, that converts into them aspiring higher in their life, ensuring that they complete their education, school education, come what may, whatever is the challenges they face in completing their school education, but they still continue to complete their school education. They navigate various difficult situations, be it child labor kind of a thing, or be it child marriage kind of a thing, or be it simply like that I am the elder sibling in my family and I have to take care of my younger sibling, and that's why I cannot attend school. But there is that there is that learning of ability to solve a problem that I have learned on the playground, and that I will manage to use outside the playground. So we have been fairly successful in keeping children complete their school education. We have been fairly successful in making them more resilient, making them more self-confident. 50% of our population in our program are girls. They compete or participate in the program equally with boys. So there is no differentiation, distinguish between the girls and the boys. And another important factor which we feel is that in this entire process, because they are participating in various Indian and international tournaments as well, they have been able to create some important legal documents for them, like a passport. So, so all the girls and the boys now have their own passport, because sometimes they get a chance to visit other country or participate in some tournaments in other countries. So then having a passport is a very, very critical document to have. So we feel that, those are the some of the milestones which we have managed to achieve.
Diogo, from your side, if you can just share your bit of journey and experience.
Yes, I would like to share two projects, maybe the most relevant projects that I have driven. For one hand, the Genuine Team. Genuine Team was always a football team composed for people living in intellectual disabilities, not physical. Women are men. They are, or this team, in the case of the Getafe Football Club or Fuenlabrada Football Club, we created this team because it's or have been part of the Genuine La Liga Genuine. La Liga Genuine is the competition organized for La Liga Foundation. Not all the clubs, but maybe now 90% of the professional football clubs members or affiliates to La Liga have created these teams. As a result, La Liga Foundation organized the competition among them. It's a great project because many people has opportunity to wear the official kits. For example, it's very great for them because they are very happy and they feel as a professionals. They travel, they get along normally very good. With several difficulties, they are working, or they are playing together in the same dress room with different diseases, with different situations, and the impact over them have been amazing because they have developed their capables very soon and faster. It's a great project. Another project, I think, is to support elderly people and to promote. Maybe it's close to the corporate football, but not is the same. The elderly people of walking football. Walking football is a great discipline where it is mandatory to play football, but walking. Among is focused to support elderly people. The experience have been very good, because not to play is right, of course, is a very great way to be fit, but there are another social consequence. No, the people feel more unit, and there are elderly people that, thanks to this, they are not feel alone. For example, they feel a part of the group, cohesion group, and they are very happy, promote the goodness and happiness among them. I think these projects are the more relevant projects along my professional career, with a very good impacts and results.
Thank you. So before we come to the closer end of the session, I will ask one question to Sonali. Sonali, you are working in the domain of awareness, and you have talked about that the culture has to be developed for anything, be it football utilized as fitness or overall fitness. Do you feel that the educational platform or the educational ecosystem should be the go-to platform to develop this type of culture? Because once we set something in an educational platform, that goes throughout our life. Do you feel so?
Absolutely, and I think there are no two ways or no two doubts about it in anybody's mind, because everything starts from our children, right? We are building the future of tomorrow. And what values we inculcate in these children today is what is going to be carried out in the future. Like when we're talking about building a culture, we're talking about promoting communities, societies. All of these things are going to come from their little minds when they become and imbibe it as a part of their life or as a part of their value system and their learning. And which is where I also advocate a lot about physical literacy, that becoming a part of our schooling system, that becoming a part of our education system is just so important. Again, we can't harp enough the value of movement and sports, and football primarily, that's the subject of our conversation today. So yes, it has to, and it all does begin with educating our future generation, and that's where it really should begin from.
Okay, fine. So I will now put across one question for all of you to answer. How you feel that the football can be introduced in terms of various other aspects, like maybe greener world, maybe environmental awareness, maybe more amount of employment in general perspective, to real have a social impact. I'll just ask all of you to comment on it. How football can be utilized for those purposes?
So if I can continue on this,
Yeah,
football
please.
by itself is a sustainable sport. If you look at it, there is very little infrastructure that is required to start playing your sport at a very primary ground root at grassroots level. So the very fact that it is such a sustainable sport itself makes it a biggest adequate for a greener everything, and your greener society, your greener environment. And I think that's where football really comes in, and it helps build, it becomes a part of all of these conversations because of its inclusivity, because of its team coherence, because of what football as a sport is.
Subhamay, your take?
Yeah, and I'll just do an extension to what Sonali just said. And I feel that essentially use football to develop life skills. And the moment we use football to develop life skills, that's where we will feel that children at the schooling age will use it for various difficulties they are facing in those years of their life. They and generally we see, in school also, the day I have the physical education classes, the attendance is high on that day. So it's a very, very known fact, and that's how we need to leverage leverage football, leverage sports, and also use these life skills, because International Labor Organization says that there are certain life skills that are critical for anybody to get employed and retain in that particular job, and especially someone who is a newcomer in the work industry. So I think use football to develop life skills for a very smooth school to work transition.
Diogo, your take on that aspect, utilizing the academic domain to infuse this kind of things?
Yes, of course, definitely, yes. There are stats where say, or the experts say, only I think 1% of the footballers arrive the professional atmosphere or the professional market to play. No? As a result, the rest of the how we will do with the rest of the people, with the rest of the kids, or the rest of the people. Of course, education it is a key field. It is very, very important, because this will be our legacy over these kids or these children, etc., because it is very, very complicated to arrive, or to arrive the top, or to be a top footballer or a professional footballer. No? As a result, I think this is a perfect. Definitely, football is a perfect way to improve their lives and to give them our legacy in terms of education.
So the last two questions, quick one. The first one is that we had seen a pandemic almost for 2 years, and that time most of the physical aspect of football was stopped. All the clubs were mostly feeling it as a challenge, because the financial flow was not there. Do you feel that we have missed an opportunity that time to connect with the society, which could have been utilized for the betterment of football now once it is back? Subhamoy, Diogo, and Sonali, anyone. We could have connected to the society at that time and then bring those guys back to the field in more in number once it is now started.
I think if we look at this question in a different way, when people were indoors, they have in fact found more creative ways of staying active and alive, and of actually using their sport in ways that they had never really thought. The way they created their own markers for training, where people have used bowls and cups and glasses, and kids have continued training, the way they have used every possible space in their homes to be able to train or play, that itself speaks about how important the sport is and how much part of their lives it is. The only thing now is that, in fact, we have created more people and more awareness on the aspect of it being a health important sport, and which is where now coming outside of it is where then we require this entire structuring coming from corporates and other organizations to come together to be able to leverage on where people have understood the importance of being healthy and fit.
Subhamoy, Diogo, any
Yes, I am
regarding
agree.
pandemic and all these things? Yeah.
Yes, I am agree 100% with Sonali. Yes, it's true. The health it is very important. I think after to this pandemic, many people have focused to be more health. Many people appreciate so much to have a different lifestyle. And yes, I am totally agree with this. The priorities for the people have changed so much, and I think the sports is a key and relevant thing, no, at this moment among the many people and new lifestyles. And yes, I am agree 100%.
Subhamoy, your take?
So in retrospect, if I see, we can always discuss certain things we could have done, but we all know how uncertain those times were, and we were absolutely not sure how the pandemic is panning out. What I feel that we missed out is on exposing them virtually, bring more, using more television, using more those kind of things where they cannot go out, to create more awareness, to create more information around the sports, around being healthy. Those kind of things we could have done. But yeah, I mean, I'm not very sure if those in retrospect whether we could have done anything more, honestly, with what we were all going through.
Yeah. Last question for all of you. Because it is Global Soccer Conclave, we are looking in the perspective of football's development and its performance domain and everything. However, we have discussed something which is outside the football ground. How you all feel that what we are discussing today, the social engagement through football, can actually create a leveraging ground for the game inside the football ground, and then football can grow from there? Just last bite from each of you.
So if I can take that first, Dr. Das, and I would see that we have not taken it out of the ground. It is still within the ground. It is still very much inside the ground. And what is going out is what we are doing in the ground. So it is absolutely important to begin. So it cannot be from the community to the ground. It is always from the ground to the community or to the society, right? So whatever is the playing field, whether it's a international stadium or is it a small playground within the community or a playground within the school, essentially everything stems from there. So the experience that children and anybody who is actively playing and gaining that experience, gaining those lessons, how they are able to replicate those learnings in their real life back to the community. So I think it has to be on the field. That needs to translate off the field for me.
Yeah. Diego?
All right. The World Football Championship is coming. No? I am sure in a short time we will have news from different things. I am very happy because from FIFA they are focusing so much in CSR. They they have reported a lot of information about the CSR. And of course, beyond the ground, we will see how how we'll see the legacy in Qatar, no, related to the human rights, related to the equal gender, related to the rights, labor rights, etc., and environment. Of course, it is very important. We will have a very relevant challenge soon in the World Champions, Football Champions, and I am expecting to see how the FIFA and the country we will deal with these aspects outside the ground are very, very important. It's a great challenge.
Thank you. And Sonali, your last bite.
Yes, I think I will just bringing together what both of them have spoken, and very vitally, I think we look at unity in diversity, and that's where we will start from the football ground and take it outside of it.
Thank you all. Have a great session. The second session, we had a talent identification in the first session. The second session was absolutely diverse and holistic. I once again over to Survi to move on to the third segment, which will be with our knowledge partner, Johan Cruyff Institute. I sincerely thank all the esteemed panelists. Albert is not there now because he has just onboarded and started his flight. And we look forward to be associated in coming days and do some real good activities for football, around football, using the social domain. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Best wishes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.